Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs, and to longtime viewers of the John Campea Show. Welcome to the triumphant return of the weekly hero. Woo-hoo. I'm, of course, your existential Mr. Rogers, Robert Meyer, Burnett, and I have with me the incomparable Kris Carr. And this is the new iteration of the weekly hero. And what we're going to do, we are going to discuss everything to do with superheroics and the week that was. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about all things, whether you're wearing armor or whether you've been bitten by a spider or you're from an alien planet. If you've got powers, if you're interested in powers, if you've got the power of Kris Carr, as I do, you will want to be here for the weekly hero. Weekly on Mondays. Mm-hmm. Are you excited, Kris?
I'm so excited. We get to talk about all the cool things that happened this week. Plus, we got issues.
We have issues. That is a weekly segment that Kris Carr and I, we have issues with one another and things you'll find out about later.
Yeah.
So, Kris, our first segment, D23. Mm-hmm. Now, we have come not to bury D23, but to praise it.
Well done.
There was a lot of great stuff I thought to get excited about, things we hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. One of those was the Secret Invasion trailer.
It was amazing.
I mean, I thought I was watching a Tom Clancy-esque thriller. It was exactly kind of what I wanted. What did you think? Is Ben Mendelsohn really a good guy?
Oh, gosh, I hope so.
Or a good Skrull?
I think he's a good Skrull. I think so. I love Ben Mendelsohn.
I do too.
I think he's wonderful. His work on Bloodline in particular is so, so good. Oh, what an incredible actor. And I love Talos. I love what they've done with his character and how they kind of, subverted our expectations in Captain Marvel about what to expect from the Skrulls. Which means that this Secret Invasion storyline is going to be wildly different, right? Are we going to have a mixture of good Skrulls, bad Skrulls? Is this going to be an entirely different shape-shifting race that we're dealing with? Are there going to be different plot points? I certainly hope so, because Brian Michael Bendis is a great, great man, and I love the majority of his work. His Green Arrow is so good.
So good.
But
now, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So Nick Fury in this trailer is shown as being eye patchless.
Yes.
And then he's shown with an eye patch on. Does that mean the Skrulls repaired his eye? He has a glass eye, or is the Nick Fury with a patch on a Skrull?
Oh,
what could that mean?
Well, the shots that I noticed where we saw the scratch marks and everything still was
from
there
the Flurkin.
Yeah,
from the Flurkin.
Was there a whole eye that I missed that was good
I think
and
his
happy?
eye was there. I mean, it looked like, and that's why the patch was off.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like Thor's eye. I don't know if Rocket had it up his
maybe because it
butt,
still looked cloudy and different.
It did look different.
But maybe that's the thing, and maybe the Skrulls didn't get that one quite right because they usually have the patch on.
I don't know.
That's interesting, because I have seen a lot of people wondering if that initial shot, too, where he's not quite in focus yet, is to allude to him potentially being a Skrull, right? Because we see that kind of weird shape a lot of times before a figure steps into the frame, right?
Right.
But it could be this little teaser of, is that the Nick Fury we know?
Or there's two.
Exactly.
There's a Nick Fury that's been running around. And we didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it really looked great. I love the tone of it all. And I thought that, what I didn't like was it said coming in 2023. Yeah. Does that mean like March or does that mean November? Do we have to wait a long time?
Well, I mean, it's Marvel, so they tend to come out on time-ish. So I feel like we shouldn't be waiting too long for this one. You know what, though? I am still wondering, who the heck is Emilia Clarke in this?
I don't know. I mean, we got that one shot of her looking like a badass. I mean, she
looks cool as hell.
Bringing back little Sarah Connor. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but she did look great. I don't know who she is. Yeah. Like, who is she playing? I mean, we'll have to see. I don't yet know. And then there's that scene where Ben Mendelsohn's he's in a restaurant and he stands up and he's surrounded by what look like clones, or are they Skrulls all being one particular guy?
I think it's Skrulls flexing.
I think it's absolutely. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
Okay, cool.
So I'm curious to see. And is Captain Marvel going to be involved in this at all?
Well, she's got her own thing happening, right? With Ms. Marvel, we had that swap moment. So
yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure if they'll both.
I don't know if they're gonna. I mean, she's kind of the ambassador of Quan to the Skrulls. No, you can come to Earth.
Yeah,
it's okay.
We'll let you in.
I thought that. I mean, look, for everything that we've already said, I thought that trailer was great. I thought it as for a first trailer, I thought it was really actually excellent. I love the whole espionage vibe of what's going on. I mean, I thought that was definitely. We knew it was coming, but to finally make it tangible, as John would say, I thought that tangibility was pretty dope.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I thought, I liked that.
Exactly.
And then we got This is a surprise for me. I mean, we'd heard that Michael Giacchino, the composer, was directing this Werewolf by Night Halloween special. I mean, next month is October. We hadn't seen anything from this at all. And then lo and behold, boom, we get a trailer. I mean, unlike the Munsters trailer, which also was kind of a throwback, this was a throwback to a lot of different things. We got to see even like Man-Thing was briefly glimpsed in this trailer. Somebody said that the Time Variance Authority was in this trailer.
Yeah.
And there's someone's a werewolf and there's hunters.
But who?
I'm curious. What'd you think?
I thought this looked really, really fun. This kind of felt like a Boris Karloff throwback, right?
Yeah.
Just all of the angles they were doing, the black and white, the lighting of all of this.
And it looks like there's some kind of practical effects and CG mixed together.
Which I love. I am a huge stickler for practical effects, especially when it comes to creature creation. You know, we're in an embarrassment of riches when it comes to that right now with all of our fantasy television. So to see Marvel embrace that a bit more is really great. Plus, if you're doing a throwback show like this, I think you have to do practical effects.
I do too.
It doesn't work otherwise.
I mean, I'm wondering if they're going to do those time lapse when they show people transform. They only have like 4 or 5 different makeups, but they time lapse. So they do long fades between them instead of. I mean, this stuff looks great.
It looks so melodramatic and so heightened, and I'm here for it. Because you know I'm not a scary movie person. This is kind of where I live in the Halloween-y genre.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You don't like horror.
I don't.
But you live in the Halloween zone.
Well, I like spooky stuff. I don't like body horror, like really gruesome, realistic deaths. Like when people are being brutalized, it just.
Fantasy deaths are okay.
Yeah, fantasy deaths are fine. Heightened deaths, really over the top, fake blood, ridiculous stuff like Wolf Cop. Wolf Cop, I love.
Well, what about like American Werewolf in London when a werewolf tears your throat out?
I can deal with that one actually.
You can?
Yeah.
Is that because it's got a humorous quality to it?
I think so. Because like Cabin in the Woods is like a great thing for me, right? But it's when they're the really realistic ones where I'm like, if I do go to that farmhouse, I might get murdered.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So this looks good to you.
I think this looks fun.
This is more Nightmare Before Christmas kind of. That's fine. I mean, that's not scary.
Yeah, I like a Tim Burton feel to things. I like some kooky with my spooky.
And now this character here, is this like some animatronic? What's with the arms going?
I keep waiting for Tom Hanks to just come over and be like, make me a kid again. It just it feels very odd, but I'm excited about it.
I don't know what it is, but I will say this. It does look pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was there anything else, I mean, superhero-wise that was new? I mean, we didn't get any new announcements, but we got glimpses of things.
We did. And, well, one thing for me, because, you know, I'm a big animation stickler, I loved that trailer for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, because I think that's just such a fun run,
Great pairing.
So cool. And it just looks really, really cute. It looks like such a fun show. That I'm really pumped about. And then we did touch on this on the main show, David Harbour. I mean, being part of the Thunderbolts, I know that wasn't a big reveal to a lot of people, but more Red Guardian in my MCU is something I'm very here for.
Well, I mean, that was the obviously we didn't see any of the Riri Williams stuff from Ironheart.
Yeah.
They didn't because they didn't show it to the internet at large.
Yes.
Now we've got Daredevil. Born Again coming out. We didn't see anything really from that, obviously, because they haven't started making yet. But we've heard Mr. Cox say it's a new iteration,
totally new thing
of Daredevil, which is exciting. The Thunderbolts announcement. Look, I thought this was very cool. I mean, there was some talk about was this replacing the Avengers? I never thought that this team is. This is more to me. I see this more as like some crack military commando squad made up of metahumans and also people that are just good at their jobs.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of people who are hyper powered and can deal with a lot of the literal celestial threats that we're having in the Marvel universe. I'm excited to see more kind of ground level on the street work, because I always found those stories really compelling in my comics.
Well, that was one of the things I loved about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, when they went to Madripoor and you saw that there's arms dealing going on. And I mean, the world would go on outside of superheroics. So I really like that they're delving in more into the quote unquote the reality. Like I wanted to see during the blip, I wanted to see Hawkeye and his Ronin guys just go killing dudes.
Heck yeah.
I mean, obviously he was tearing a swath through the underworlds of whatever country he wanted to go to. He must have killed massive amounts of people.
I really do want that kind of side quest story, because as cool as it was to get a glimpse of Ronin, which I honestly never thought we would see in this Marvel universe, man, do I want more of that, because that one scene with the Yakuza was so delicious. I want more of that. And I know he's on his new path and he's reformed and everything, but can we throw back to that and let Jeremy Renner just tear up shop?
The idea that an Avenger would go rogue and literally straight up kill people. I mean, criminals, yes. But that's an interesting way to go because, again, it extrapolates on the MCU itself. Like, how do the authorities, like, is that why the Sokovia Accords exist when a superhero goes rogue? Whose responsibility is that? And of course, it was Natasha's. I mean, she went in and got him, but they knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Rhodey looking for him. They were always one step behind.
But also, it was like, hey, Clint, stop killing people.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't you do that, Clint. Stop it.
So there was a lot of stuff that I think we can be excited about coming out of D23.
Plus, the Disney things themselves were really, really magical and lovely. I'm hyped for Snow White. I'm hyped for Little Mermaid. All those things. All of those lovely princess heroes I'm very hyped for.
And look, I can't wait to see Daredevil again. I mean, Charlie Cox is so great. Vincent D'Onofrio is the Kingpin. Has there ever been a more perfectly cast pair of comic book
so good
heroes? So good together.
And with our godly threats and everything now too, it's going to be really interesting to see if, his religion plays into this even more, because being raised Catholic and being confronted with other celestial beings.
I didn't think of that. I hope they delve into that. What is a deeply religious man? If they're going born again, there's a lot of Catholicism in that, a lot of religious overtones. What does somebody who is religious do when Ereshkigal the Judge, a celestial, shows up on Earth? Does that shake your faith?
Exactly. Or does it reaffirm it in some way? I'm
Very
interested.
interesting.
All those years of Catholicism and catechism are going to pay off for me, baby. I'm going to have insight.
No guilt. No guilt. Well, so again, a lot of stuff for us weekly heroines or heroes or heroines. You're a heroine. I'm a hero.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't matter now.
No.
It doesn't matter. But there was a lot to love.
There was.
A lot to get excited about. Now, something else, we're going to go back a little bit. The Black Adam trailer.
Yes.
Now, we've been talking about the Black Adam trailer. I've ruminated over this. I've watched the trailer, probably like 10 times. And I think everything in it looks cool.
Yeah.
I think Dwayne Johnson, there's nobody I think that's ever existed on planet Earth that could be a better Black Adam than Dwayne Johnson.
There's no one more equipped to be a superhero. Just look at him. And charisma to boot.
He's amazing, but I feel watching this trailer like he's going. I almost feel like we're watching an ad for his like social media. Like I don't feel it's like a real movie trailer in a way, because there's no sense of what the story is. And I've now seen 3 trailers, and as John said, if this was the first trailer, it'd be really intriguing. And I love seeing the Justice Society. I love seeing Dr. Fate. I love seeing Hawkman. But I'm watching this, and I don't know if I have a reason to go see this.
I feel that. And boy, the comments were vicious last week when we talked about this. They were like, of course you don't like this. No one said we don't like this. Internet, come on. We can't be so nitpicky. We have some issues with it, and that's fine. For me, one of the things I had a problem with this trailer was that I wish I knew a little bit more about what to expect from this film and who these characters are. I mean, I'm a huge Dr. Fate fan, and having Pierce Brosnan play Dr. Fate is just a masterstroke.
It's great. And the costume, I mean, I've always, ever since I was a little kid and was reading the Justice Society crossovers with the JLA, I always loved Dr. Fate, and they nailed that helmet.
They did. My friend Petey has a really dope Naboo helmet that he wears for Halloween. Oh, I want to steal it. I need to bring it in here. But my issue, though, is like, it does just feel, I think Amy said this, generically badass, basically.
Right.
Where I love everything in it. This all looks really, really cool, but I just wish I had a little more. On the opposite end of that spectrum, though, so many times Marvel nowadays is telling me everything that's in their movie.
Right.
And then I show up to the theater and there aren't big surprises, and I'm a little disappointed. So I feel like there's a sweet spot in the middle of give me a little taste of your story, but don't reveal everything. And this, I wanted a little bit more. Am I going to see this movie? Absolutely. This looks badass. For a third trailer, I wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, I just feel that, look, the premise is really interesting. A magically imbued being wakes up 5,000 years after he was put to sleep for whatever reason we don't know.
Yeah.
What does that being do in the modern world? I mean, even if there was no superheroics on display or no magical powers, look at that dude. If he's just walking around in a city street, like what happens when he walks into a Starbucks? But I look
What
at
a
this
cool
guy. I
show.
mean, I don't mean to be like completely just writing it off, but I mean that fish out of water story. If you're somebody this powerful and you wind up in our world today, and you've got a beef with somebody that's 5,000 years old and they're no longer here, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, what's the first thing a guy like Black Adam would do revived in the modern age? And I was hoping we'd get like the cliche where he was trying to figure out one thing, something. But we got none of that. He's just, like you said, generically badass, like Amy said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wanted something more to hold my interest as far as the story goes. And I didn't feel I got that from the trailer. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to go see this movie.
No. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be there the first day. Gonna get my seats early.
Yeah.
I'm very hyped about this. I just want to get a little more taste. But hey, maybe that means the trailer did a good job in that I want more.
Yes. You want like an interview with a vampire. I want more.
Yeah.
Would you watch Interview with a Vampire?
I
Or
love
is that-
Interview with a Vampire.
Okay, so that's spooky, but not.
Yeah. And it was a
Okay.
little sexy.
Okay, well, yeah, of course. Of course. Speaking of sexy time, She-Hulk.
Woo!
Four
What a
episodes.
segue, Rob.
4 episodes into She-Hulk, Kris. How are you feeling? Are you feeling it at all? Still feeling it? Kind of feeling it? Where do you fall on which side of She-Hulk do you fall down on?
So I feel like when we've talked about this, I feel like I like the show a little bit more than you. I am still wanting this show to get weirder. And I feel like some of the ways they've chosen to get weird are maybe not the best. I love Wong, for example, but some of Wong's choices are a little odd. I really like it when he's the badass who's kind of just, pop culturally unaware of things.
Yes.
That makes the most sense for me for him. I love when he's listening to Beyonce. I love when he's hitting up karaoke. I would have loved him and Madison to go to that legalese bar and have drinks and just like talk shop and do all that kind of stuff. But some of the legal choices are odd. But we have to have wacky legal antics. I get it. I want us to complete a through line is my bigger issue right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a real presence notably missing in Titania. Because right now I am loving Jamila's Instagram. I am loving all of the posts she's doing.
Yeah.
All of the guerrilla marketing that a lot of was her idea, which is so cool to me. But I find that more interesting sometimes than what's actually happening on the show.
Well, it's funny. The show seems to be like it wants to have its cake and eat it too. It wants to be a Marvel superhero show.
Yeah.
But then it seems to be commenting a lot on our real world in terms of real world politics, and obviously what women have to go through in the MCU and what women have to go through in our universe are probably pretty much the same. But there's a lot of comedy fodder to be mined from the MCU itself. Like whether you're making jokes about America's ass. I mean, you'd see Captain America's ass on a phone, and that's
her background.
I mean, that's all great, but I'd like to see more situational humor, more wink, nudge, nudge to the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe. You've now got 14 years of those movies. In addition to, I would expect more, like what happened during the blip, for instance.
Yeah.
What happens when, like, what if you were doing something like washing your hair when the blip happens, and you're sent right back in your birthday suit in the middle of like a birthday party. I don't know, just something that
someone's remodeled the home.
And maybe there's something happened legally for that, or somebody got busted for
indecent exposure.
Something like that.
Boom.
And it's a court case. I'm a superhero. I didn't know this was going to happen. Or just more things where they lean into the universe of it all.
The Asgardian shapeshifter, I think, was a great example of
I
that.
loved that.
I think that was super fun. I really, truly love that Madison storyline. I think that's so fun of her just being like, okay, I made a deal with a goat and I had to give him 6 shots of my blood, so don't worry about it. Like all of that stuff I think is so fun, and I want to lean harder into that. I think that stuff is really where the show sings.
Well, when she said she made a deal, I'm thinking, did you get that deal in writing? Because this has to come into play later. Like, is She-Hulk going to have to uphold? You can't. You're a demon wherever, and your goat signed it, but this is not a valid
Technically,
contract.
you cannot own Madison's soul because this is null and void here.
I mean, that would be ideal.
I'd love that.
I would love that as well. I think something along those lines have to be coming. So for me, look, it's not like I've enjoyed the 4 episodes. I thought episode 4 was just too silly. It seemed like it veered. It made Wong a little too goofy. Like I like him with Madison, but somehow he seems like he would be aware when they're fighting these demon creatures that it's unusual for you to be fighting demon creatures. I understand that. But it seems like sometimes they just make him a little dim-witted.
Yeah.
And he's not as self-aware as he has been in the past.
That one portal that he was throwing all those demons into, I saw a really interesting little blurb, I think on Reddit, of how it looked like the mountainscape that he and Wanda went off to. I think that'd be cool if that was, all right, let's throw those demons where Wanda Maximoff's corpse.
That's interesting.
I think that could be a cool little tie-in. But yeah, other than that, some of the choices have been.
But if that were the case, wouldn't it have been great to have at least one shot of one of those demons landing right by, and then the camera pans up and you see the portal from that side, and the demons keep coming through, and you realize where they're tossing those demons?
That would have been neat.
I feel like the show is not giving us the setup. I want little, or maybe they are, and we just don't know it, but I'd like to see more through lines.
Yeah. I will say in its favor, it is working like a sitcom for me in that it's a 30-minute show that I have a nice time watching. It's a fun escape from the day-to-day.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to decide whether or not I need to stop viewing it as a piece of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and take it as its own entity, or if I do need to view it with that superhero lens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, it's hard to say. We're kind of figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
We have 4 episodes. The next episode is the midway point, episode 5. And I'm wondering if all of these things, I mean, are we going to see Blonsky come back, or is that storyline done?
He's busy with those 7 women.
If I had 7 brides for 7 brothers, I'd be busy with them too.
Oh, yay. What a good reference.
Who knows? He's just all the brothers.
Yeah.
But I look, I'm going to wait. I'm still enjoying the show. It's
cute.
It's a fluffy 30-minute
Exactly.
romp.
Right now, it's an ice cream cone,
That's
it's
what
sweet,
it is.
It's fun, but when I'm done with it, I might still go get another snack. It's not calorically satisfying.
No, it's not. It's a trifle. So, Kris, before we get into the issues that you and I might have with one another, we're going to hear from today's sponsor, HelloFresh.
Hey guys, we want to thank one of the sponsors of today's video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep and completely ready to prepare. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And guys, I know we are always looking for ways to save some money. In fact, HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout, and it's even more cheaper than going to the grocery store too. And HelloFresh isn't just for dinners. Shop HelloFresh Market for quick breakfasts, wholesome snacks, and even desserts. You'll find everything you need to satisfy your cravings without stepping a foot in the grocery store or mini-mart. Listen, I've told you guys before, Ann and I are both working professionals, so finding time to eat healthy and eat together is often challenging. But I'm telling you, these HelloFresh meal kits have made it easy to eat a lot healthier, it's less expensive for us, and we have a blast. And there's nothing like feeling like a chef when you put the final product on the plate. So right now, go to HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the promo code Campea16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the promo code Campea16.
And a very special thanks for the first sponsorship of this iteration of the Weekly Hero, our friends at HelloFresh. Well, now, Kris, you cannot escape the fact that we have issues, and we have a special issue.
We've got a great issue today.
We have an issue. As everyone knows, the Sandman has been burning up the viewing charts. The series has gone, it is up to 18 issues. It has adapted 18 issues of the Sandman comic series. It is halfway through the 3rd, call it the Sandman book, The Dream Country, which is a 4-issue series that came after A Doll's House. And the first 2, Dream of a Thousand Cats and Calliope,
we just got those.
We just got those, but now, what issue do we have between us?
Oh, we have one of my absolute favorites, A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Sandman issue 19.
Number 19, published in 1990. This is a 32-year-old comic. Oh, and it's beautiful.
Now, I would assume if Sandman gets a 2nd season, that they would begin season 2 with this story. Because
absolutely.
It is a one-off story that has ramifications in the wider, moving down the road, the Sandman universe. But what is the story of Sandman issue 19 that was written by Neil Gaiman and drawn by?
Oh, Mr. Vess.
Charles
Vess, yes. So, first of all, coming off of season 1 from the story, right, we did see when Morpheus was with Hobb, he veers off to go talk to Will Shakespeare.
And that
right?
was in episode 6.
Yes.
The second half, The Sound of Her Wings.
So this comic is basically that conversation and its ramifications, right? So Will Shakespeare makes a deal with Morpheus to be given, great insight, great words, fame and glory, and doesn't really understand that that's a double-edged sword, right? 'Cause
Yes.
everything that comes with fame and glory. But the only thing that Morpheus requires is that he commissions him to write 2 plays for him, the first of which, A Midsummer Night's Dream. And what's so beautiful about this is that this is a gift from Morpheus to the Fae, who have left our realm, they've moved on, and he wants to make sure that humanity has immortalized them. They want to remember them forever. And so it's this beautiful, beautiful story for them. And he talks to the king and queen, right, of the Fae, and they're just like, thank you, but none of this happened to us. This isn't a true story. And one of my favorite lines in it is just that something doesn't have to be true to be real, which I think is just the best interpretation of literature and comics and media in any way, shape, or form. It just has to resonate with you. And so a story doesn't have to have happened to make a great impact on somebody. And it's just beautiful.
Well,
Look
it
at this
also
art.
encapsulates truly what the Sandman overall is really all
Yes.
about, which is storytelling itself and the importance of stories to us mere mortals.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Shakespeare's son Hamnet is in this story.
Begrudgingly taking his kid around with him.
Yeah, he has to drag the kid around,
Yeah.
and then there's of course Puck,
Yes.
and the Puck of the Fae decides that I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Why someone's going to play me? I don't want that to happen.
No, I'm the only Puck there is, and then stays around in the human realm too to continue causing mischief.
Yes, he plays himself in the play and sticks around.
And is like, this is great, Blades.
And we have issues that we agree on, and this would be one of them.
This is one of them. You and I share a deep love of Sandman.
A deep love of Sandman. It's my favorite comic series of all time. And one of the things about this series, when you go back and you revisit it, is I think the sheer creativity that Neil Gaiman brought to this series. Because one of the really interesting things about, there's 75 regular issues of the Sandman, then there's a special, and there's the Dream Country and the Endless Nights, and there's also Overture, which he wrote for the 25th anniversary. But you never knew when this comic was coming out what you were going to get.
Exactly.
And it was like opening a treasure chest of delights every month, because you had no idea. Like before this was Calliope, which we saw, that was the last part of the bonus episode.
Mm-hmm.
That was as far away from A Midsummer Night's Dream as you could possibly get. And it was just like that when you were reading the comic. What does a dream country mean? An issue about cats, when Morpheus is a black cat, that wasn't even the lead of the story. He just shows up as a guest star in his own book.
Mm-hmm.
And then Calliope has to call, come on, please save me. You loved me once. Why am I stuck here being the muse for this dickhead?
Yeah.
And then we're meeting Shakespeare again. And I think that's the people that are watching the show now are getting what we got when we read the comics back in the day. And I think the show it's terrifically loyal or faithful to the comics.
Which I had no idea how they were going to interpret this at all. And they've done such a beautiful job. But I just want to push people too, though. If you've enjoyed this series, please go to your local comic shop and pick up these omnibuses, these issues and everything. Because like Rob was saying, the fact that you jump genres and jump kinds of storytelling. I mean, we go from dealing with serial killers and really horrific murders and atrocities committed by man to beautiful tales of mythology. And Neil Gaiman's strong suit, in my opinion, is just how his brain works in terms of weaving mythology and literature into incredibly grounded humanistic stories.
Yes.
And has brilliant humor all throughout it too.
And the religions of the world, and incorporating all the different pantheons of gods, which we're going to see if they do in the second season. What I hope they do, if they get a second season, they're going to do a season of Mists, which is my favorite
so good.
Sandman story, which begins by Sandman being told he's basically a dick because he banished his first love, or the first woman that loved him, that we saw in episode 4, to hell for 10,000 years. And his family says, Dream, that was kind of a dickish thing to do. And he's like, really? Yes. And he has to decide to go. Well, he decides to go back to hell to free his love.
Yeah.
Because he's a dick.
There's so much
and
good
things
stuff.
go from there.
Oh, I did want to ask you, Rob. So with all the Fae in this issue, if they were to do this as the premiere episode for season 2, what would you like them to be done as? Like a mix of CGI and like real effects, like prosthetics and things? Like how would you create this world on that Netflix series?
You know what? I'd love to see. I don't think I would have said this until I saw the episode with Black Noir in The Boys when you had animated. He was seeing the animated
his
woodland
little
creatures,
beaver friend and everything.
all of that.
Gopher, whatever he was.
I would love to see a combination, like a combination of every iteration. Maybe people in suits, maybe something animatronic and animated. So it would be an amalgamation of all of these things together. Because why not? We've never seen anything like that before. And look at these, you can see on these panels, look at the designs. Some of these things would work much better in animation than in live action. It'd be very complex to do some of these designs as real. But if you had like the Henson Creature Shop or something doing the physical live action stuff as bigger Muppets and things like that, it could be great. And then you augment it with flying creatures or whatever you wanted to do animated, but they're all interacting. So that's the way I would go with it.
I love that. Yeah, I would like some Henson Creature Shop involved here. That'd be awesome. The big thing too is y'all just need to get off your mom's Netflix accounts and subscribe so they give us a season 2.
Please go. Yes, everybody watch the Sandman. If you don't subscribe to Netflix and you're using someone else's account, please go and subscribe. Go and subscribe. Do it for Rob.
Yeah.
Do it for Kris.
Please.
You know, we want to have more episodes of We Have Issues, and we can't do that if there's nothing to talk about.
There's no more Sandman, because
what are we going to do?
We want to spend a lot of time on that one, y'all.
It's terrible. I don't know. Well, Kris, that brings us to our last segment, which is really all about me.
It is.
Let's face it. It's all about me.
Yeah, that's fine.
And what's wrong with just having something be all about me?
You know what? This is your time. This is your time down here. You're a Goonie forever.
I hate that movie.
I know. I'm sorry.
Why'd
I couldn't
you call
help
me a Goonie
myself.
Forever? Well, this is our Hot Toys segment. And if you like Hot Toys as much as I do, well, you're going to love this.
Okay, Rob, this is my personal favorite part of Weekly Hero, your Hot Toys today. So what do we have here today?
Well, you know, kind of in honor of Prey and the fact that one of the first things Hot Toys made were Predator figures, they did a one-off Predator art piece where it's a samurai Predator. Now, I don't know if they have ancient feudal Japan on the Predator homeworld, but here he is, Samurai Predator. He's obviously, John, just murdered an alien xenomorph. And
I see its head hanging here.
Hot Toys did this. They've kind of done these one-off art pieces. Like they did a female Predator hunter at one point. And these Predator figures are pretty sought after, and they're very hard to find now because they just didn't make very many of them. And because they're not directly from a movie necessarily, that they're more of an art piece. You know, it's for the discerning taste, but I love samurai. I collect samurai figures. So when I saw this, I was like, oh man, I have to get this. I want to say, this might be like 8 years old or something?
8 years old?
I think so. I mean, because I don't know. I don't remember like when it came out. But I still love this figure. It's a great display piece. It's not very posable. It's more like a statue, even though it is posable. But it's got great shelf presence, and it's just fun. People see it and puts a smile on their face. And,
now, a lot of the Hot Toys will come with like 5 different sets of arms or 3 different sets of heads. Did this one come in any of those?
This comes with, there's more samurai armor that goes on here. It has these mandibles, the face mandibles. There's different face mandibles. You can make them that they're sprung outward. I just kind of used the pieces that made him look badass, and I took off the samurai helmet and stuff, but there's a lot of cool accessories with this figure, so it gives you a lot of posability options. So it's a pretty fun figure to have.
I'm curious to ask. What was the, what's it called, the retail sales price on this thing when it was first? Because you said this thing's about 8 years old.
Yeah, I want to say it was about $250.
What do you think it would cost? Because these were limited.
To be honest, I don't know, but I would imagine $400 or $500
to get one of these today.
Yeah, but if you could find one cheaper, I would pick one up because obviously with Prey coming out, the Predator franchise is still as vibrant as it ever was. And of course, Hot Toys really began in earnest making xenomorphs and Predator figures.
Even look at those shin guards on them. This looks so cool.
Isn't that great?
With the samurai sandals and everything, too?
I know. I mean, it's kind of goofy when you really think about it, but it's just awesome. And I love the translucent alien head skulls and stuff on it. I think it looks great.
Well, Rob,
it's just a fun figure.
You didn't let us down again. This figure is awesome. We can't wait to see what you're going to bring in next week.
I can't wait. I don't know what I'm going to bring in, but it's going to be cool.
Well, every week here on the Weekly Hero, we will be showing a hot toy. Maybe one day you'll bring in a toy. Whatever toy you have is hot. You don't have to have the brand Hot Toys.
That's good because I can't afford those.
Yes, you can.
I'm more in that like Funko range.
That's okay. Funko Pops,
Sweet. I've got my dope Gwen.
I mean, I saw that they have
stuff.
a Superman and Lois from Superman the movie. Like they're holding hands.
Oh, cute.
Like a dual Funko Pop. I think I might jump on that.
Oh, that's adorable.
Well, that'll do it, everyone, for this new iteration of the Weekly Hero. Kris and I will be coming at you every week. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly when this will drop because that's a secret. No, I don't know when it is, but please, whatever you guys think, if you like the show, please go down into the comments. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us things you like, things you don't like. We want to hear from you, right, Kris?
Absolutely. This is a collaboration between us and you guys. So let us know what kind of issues you want to hear about, too. And don't worry, we absolutely will have some comic issues that Rob and I do not agree on.
Yes, this is not a show that we're just going to be, kumbaya in it all the time. We might have some dissent.
We friends, but we fight.
We do.
We discuss.
Like cats and dogs. Well, that'll do it. Thank you all so very much for tuning in to this new iteration of the Weekly Hero. I'm Robert Meyer Burnett, and Kris Carr. Where can people find you online?
You can find me at actor Kris Carr on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me on Instagram at RMBurnett or on Twitter at BurnettRM. And thanks very much. And, can you read my mind? Do you know what it is that you do to me?